here with you on Sports Center. The NBA trade deadline is just 6 days away, and Giannis is the prize that everyone is vying for. Our senior NBA reporter Brian Windhorst is here with the latest on the race for Giannis, and the Warriors are among the teams battling to get him before the deadline. They have picks, young talent, and Jimmy Butler's contract as prime assets. However, Wendy, would Giannis even want to go to Golden State?
Well, I think Giannis's desires here have a factor in any trade conversation because he only has 1 year left on his contract. And he would be in position to inform a team that was trading for him whether he intended to sign a contract extension this summer or not. I do not believe that that necessarily has been given out to any team yet, including the Warriors. And that could slow down this entire process. Whether Giannis would even wants to show his hand on that is a factor in this situation. But what you're willing to pay for a star player relative to contract status makes a huge difference in the potential offer. So the Warriors definitely have the most of any team that can offer in a straight-up two-team trade. There are other teams like the Knicks, for example, or the Heat, or the Timberwolves, who could go out there and get a third or fourth team. But before you initiate any of that stuff, you would want to know that Giannis really intended to resign. And so that's the next layer that would happen before you see a major trade.
Yeah, everyone waiting to see what happens with Giannis at the trade deadline. We'll have to wait just a couple days to find out. Now, the Grizzlies have been entertaining trade offers for Ja Morant. He's been sidelined with a left elbow injury. Knowing that, what is the trade market for Ja Morant right now?
It's not strong. I think if the Grizzlies just wanted to move off of Ja Morant's contract and literally take expiring contracts for him, they probably could do a deal like that, but that doesn't really benefit them that much. If they were going to move Ja Morant for a deal like that, they would have already done it. They would want to move Ja Morant for value, for things that could help them pivot to the next part of their team, and that deal right now is just not there. The injury to his elbow is only one factor of that. It's really his injury history over the last few years that is contributing to that. Right now, the value of star players on long contracts really relates to how much worth on that contract they are. And right now, Ja isn't viewed as the league as performing to the level of that contract.
All right, Wendy, let's get to some breaking news right here on Sports Center. Nikola Jokic plans to return to the Nuggets tonight, sources tell ESPN's Charania. The three-time MVP has missed the past 16 games with a hyperextended left knee. Denver has gone 10-6 without him, but Jokic returns in time for two big showdowns. The Nuggets host the red-hot Clippers team tonight and the Thunder on Sunday. So, Wendy, your reaction to Jokic being back out there on the floor for the Nuggets?
This is so welcome news for the Nuggets. First off, this is on the front end of his return timeline, so he was able to get through this injury well. Secondly, they just lost Aaron Gordon, who's a vital player for them for 4 to 6 weeks with another hamstring injury, and they've been sort of getting by in a wing and a prayer without him. They've kept their situation in the standings despite these injuries. They've got other guys like Cam Johnson who are out, so getting Jokic back now is a huge boost. I expect them to monitor his minutes and back-to-backs for the next couple of games to make sure he gets his win back. And also, he missed 16 games. So he does have a tiny, tiny little buffer to still qualify for the postseason awards. Not that I think that that's something that's going to be important to him. He was having one of the most prolific seasons in the history of the NBA when he suffered that knee issue.
Yeah, and a big return for the Nuggets with the Clippers and the Thunder also coming up. You can catch more Wendy at 3 Eastern with NBA Today and the crew later on ESPN. Wendy, thanks so much for the insight.
Time in Milwaukee could be coming to an end. That question is whether it happens by Thursday afternoon or perhaps wait for the offseason. As it stands, Bucks are finally willing to listen to trade offers as the team sits at 18-28 outside of the play-in tournament in the East. Let's bring in John Gonzalez with the impact Giannis could have on 3 reported suitors. We're even throwing in a bonus pick for contenders or pretenders for the former league and finals MVP. And again, the NBA trade deadline coming up Thursday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's start with the Warriors. John, would they be contenders or pretenders in this scenario?
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one, Tommy. I'm going to go with contenders. So the Warriors lost Jimmy Butler, as we all know, for the season with an ACL injury. Jonathan Kuminga has been marginalized and once out. I'm going to send them to the Bucks along with picks. I think that this is one of the cleanest trades out there for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Warriors can attach up to 4 first-round picks. And I think that two-man game, with Steph Curry would be absolutely killer. It's been killer with Draymond Green forever, and everything that Draymond Green can do, well, guess what? Giannis can do it that much better. The problem here, and the reason why I hesitated, was that Giannis is out 4 to 6 weeks with a calf injury. And anytime you hear Giannis and calf injury, as we know, calf injuries are tricky, right? All of a sudden, if they linger or if they get a little bit too exacerbated, then all of a sudden, as you saw with Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs last year, they can quickly become an Achilles injury. So I worry a little bit about that, and I worry a little bit about just the Western Conference being absolutely loaded, right? The Warriors are 8th in the Western Conference. They have so many teams to climb over, but if they make this move, and I do like this move for the Warriors, and I like it for the Bucks, because again, it just makes sense for both sides. Man, Steph and Giannis, I'm just going to say contenders because I want to see it happen.
Yeah, I'm with you when it comes to that particular scenario, but we've got a few others here to dissect and break down. How about the New York Knicks?
Yeah, this one is also tricky. I'm going to go with pretenders on this one, but it kind of depends really, Tommy, on who are they trading for Giannis. Right now, they're reportedly shopping Karl Anthony Towns. He's having one of the worst shooting seasons by his standards of his career, and he's a defensive liability. Now, from salary matching purposes, trading Cat for Giannis works out. But if you're the Bucks, why would you want to do that, right? The Knicks basically don't have any draft picks that they can attach. They have the Wizards, but it's in the upcoming draft, but it's protected 1 through 8, and after that it converts to 2 second-round picks. So if you're the Bucks, there's really no reason to do that. So now all of a sudden you're probably going to have to move OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges. You've got to loop in a third team. The degree of difficulty here is really tough. So even if you do land Giannis, my suspicion is that you're going to have to dismantle a big part of your core to make it happen, at which point I'm not sure that what's left is going to be good enough to, even if you get out of the Eastern Conference, we're talking about finals contenders or pretenders here, so I'm going to make them pretenders after they have to go through all of that just to get Giannis.
Been a tough couple of weeks for Cat. Mike Brown had that lazy comment 2 weeks ago. Now kind of hanging around as a trade piece there for Anthony Towns. So it'll be interesting to see if that all plays out in less than a week's time. Let's stay in the East and talk about the Miami Heat. Contenders or pretenders?
Yeah, this is the easiest one for me. This is going to be pretenders. They're 7th in the East. They're 2 games over 500. They're a pretty good offensive team. They're below average defensively. They just have so far to go, right? Now, what could they offer? They could offer Tyler Hero, some combination of, they have a whole bunch of nice young players, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, maybe Apella Larson. But what do you have left after you move all those pieces? You've got a core of Giannis and Bam Adebayo and Norm Powell, which is pretty good, but not good enough, right? So I think that if you're the Heat, this is the kind of swing that you would expect them to take. I wouldn't fault them for taking it, but after they made it, even after landing Giannis, they'd still have to do some work this coming off season in order to convert this team into actual contenders. But in the immediate aftermath of a trade like this, pretenders for sure.
All right, so we don't have to entertain this scenario for very much longer. Let's get to the Timberwolves. Are you bullish on either side of the coin when it comes to being contenders or pretenders?
Yeah, I'm going to go contenders on this one. Also an easy one. I mean, they made back-to-back Western Conference Finals without Giannis, right? Can you imagine Ant and Giannis together? Those two guys, I mean, good luck stopping those guys getting downhill, not to mention the fact that Ant has added that outside element to his game. He led the league in three-point shooting last year. I think that they'd be a seamless fit together. Now, the problem here is not easy to pull off, right? How are you even getting Giannis? The Wolves don't have any picks to dangle. Right now, they could offer maybe a 2028 first-round swap, Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon. That's not really getting it done, right? They're basically in the same boat as the Knicks here in that they'd probably have to loop in a third team, and now all of a sudden, maybe you're adding Jaden McDaniels to a deal. Maybe you're adding Julius Randle. So for the purposes of this exercise, we'll say that it's getting done, and we'll turn them into contenders. But this is a really difficult one for the Wolves to pull off. But just the idea, in fantasy land here, in basketball fantasy land, don't you love the idea of Ant and Giannis together? How tantalizing is that? If they could somehow pull it off. Tim Connolly, is a wizard. He built the current Wolves team into a team that went to 2 straight Western Conference Finals. He built the Nuggets team that won a championship. So I believe in Tim Connolly. If there's anybody out there who can somehow finagle this thing and figure out a way to make it happen, he's the guy. And boy, that would be fun.
Yeah, if we just stay in Fantasyland, the funny thing, though, when Cat was with Minnesota, it was like, why are they going double bigs? There's too much real estate in that particular position. Although with Giannis, technically, yes, but again, different skill sets and all that stuff. I certainly understand that. And I'm with you with the Timberwolves pick. If we get back to reality closer to the NBA trade deadline, John, do you actually think Giannis gets moved next week, or are we thinking more summertime when it comes to the Greek Freak?
I think it probably behooves them to wait until the offseason when they could really assess the landscape and see all the different offers that would come in. The Bucks, for whatever reason, Tommy, I think they screwed this up in a number of different ways. I like John Horst. I think he's a smart guy, the general manager for the Milwaukee Bucks. But they waited on this thing until a week before the trade deadline to finally say, hey, we'll listen to offers. They should have been listening to offers well before this. They shouldn't have waived and stretched Damian Lillard and added more than $20 million in each of the next 5 seasons in dead cap money just so they could add Miles Turner during the offseason and put him next to Giannis Antetokounmpo and hope that Giannis would stick around. They should have looked at this thing coldly, dispassionately, and went, man, this is not going to work out. It's been real with Giannis. We should move on. They, I think, would compound the mistake if they move him before the deadline just to move him. I think you wait till the summer, you really see all the offers that are coming in, what everybody has to throw your way before the draft, and then you move him on and you say thank you for your service.
It is interesting, the wrinkle of the injury and how much it affects potential movement. Talks about moving Giannis Antetokounmpo. We'll wait and see. We're counting down the days to the trade deadline. But contenders and pretenders and John Gonzalez here for the Friday ahead of the trade deadline. John, thank you very much. Take a look at the shortest odds to win the NBA title. Breaking news, nothing has changed. OKC has been sitting right around plus 110 forever. And then you get Nuggets at plus 650, the only other one with single-digit odds. And the rest you see there, long shots essentially right side of your screen.